All right, good morning. It's cold here in Nashville, so I was waiting until my live time inside, and then I got to brave some of this. I think it's in the 40s, and it was like in the 60s a little bit earlier this week. I think it gets back into the 60s next week. You know, they have this weird weather. They call it Fool's Spring. So Fool's Spring has hit here in Nashville. I might stop by California for a day next week, see what the weather's like there. But anyway, fun times here. I'm in a cool little neighborhood called Wedgwood, Houston in Nashville, which kind of gives you an idea of how quickly this city is changing. You could see all of the construction. A lot of construction trucks, concrete trucks, cement trucks might pass us here as I'm talking about the 49ers. This is our first ever on location live Lombardi AM Scramble. Normally I'm live, but obviously in more of a studio setting. But today I was out at breakfast. That was a little acai bowl cafe, and I figured I'd show you guys a little bit of the street scene here in Nashville. Anyway, 49ers news of today is that it's February 17th. Jimmie Ward's contract is scheduled to void today. What that means is that Ward was technically only under contract through this season, but the 49ers had restructured his deal a little bit earlier to open up previous cap room in previous seasons. And they added void years, that was 23, 2024, and 2025 to the deal so they could stretch some of the cap hits out over those future years. But you can't just have void years on a contract when a guy's not playing for you. You could only have those void years there when he's under contract. So since Ward isn't under contract to play for the 49ers this next season, it has to void at some point. So it voids today, and the money that was stretched out over 23, 24, and 25 against the cap all accelerates and hits the cap as dead money today. So it's a $6.4 million dead money hit for Jimmie Ward. Don't freak out. This was already expected. In fact, if you go to my salary cap spreadsheet, I had already accounted for Jimmie Ward and $6.4 million of dead money. But this is a situation where we can start talking about what the 49ers are going to do in the defensive backfield moving forward. It's a reminder of sorts, right? And I think that, they might bring back Jimmie Ward, but the problem is that they don't know if they want Jimmie Ward as nickel, where he played this past season, or as safety until they figure out what the safety spot opposite Talanoa Hufanga is going to look like. And DeSean Gibson, who was one of the best safeties in football this year, is contemplating retirement. He's going to be 33 years old next season. So the question is, if DeSean Gibson comes back, he's going to be the safety, right? Opposite Talanoa Hufanga, just like this past season. So Jimmie Ward is in a situation where he wants to be paid as a safety, not as a nickelback, because safeties make a lot more money than nickelbacks. I think the 49ers only want Jimmie Ward back if he plays nickelback, if DeSean Gibson is their safety, if that makes sense. So it's all dependent on the DeSean Gibson retirement or no retirement decision. I think if DeSean Gibson returns, there will be no Jimmie Ward chance of returning to the 49ers. They'll go elsewhere for nickel. They'll go in-house probably, Diamador Lenoir. If you get Emmanuel Mosley back to play outside cornerback, Samuel Womack, they're developing him. But if DeSean Gibson retires, all of a sudden the 49ers need that second safety opposite Talanoa Hufanga. And in that case, they might be willing to bust out the checkbook and play Jimmie Ward money. So I think that's, really the dilemma. And, not that much of a dilemma. It's just something the 49ers have to wait on. Patience is required to see how they're going to set up their defensive back room. Anyway, let's take a little bit more of a walk here through this Wedgwood, Houston area. It's the Lombardi AM Scramble. I like doing these from on location. Makes it pretty fun. They have, they got like cool little breweries here. This is all this new housing. This is one of the fastest growing cities in the US. It might be like the second fastest growing city after Austin. Some craft cocktails. And here's a nice little cidery. I've been to this one. It's called DeSean Cidery. If you guys like cider, I'm not the biggest cider fan, but it's a cool little spot. Looks like they're open early. But I will tell you, despite all this construction, it is cold here. So whoever's moving in here, they better be ready for some cold February weather. Now the weather's going to get a lot better next week. We'll have to be fair. And the people will be able to hang out at their cideries here. It's really loud though. Not great for the show, but we're giving you guys the good feel here on the morning scramble. All right, I'm gonna walk back to where I was, go back inside. Wanted to give you the lowdown on the DB situation with Jimmie Ward's contract voiding today. If you have any questions, pop them in, and I will try to answer them right now. Good business doesn't make friends. The 49ers need to re-sign Emmanuel Moseley cheap. Well, they might be able to since he's coming off the ACL tear, right? Just like Jason Verrett. That might have ended up being a longer-term break for the 49ers as far as the finances go. Obviously, you would have rather had Emmanuel Moseley healthy last year and had to discuss really paying him this year, but you have to just adapt with the situation, and the situation is that he's coming off an ACL tear. Will I live stream my honeymoon? No. By the way, we're going to a cool spot for the honeymoon. We're going to go out to Africa. We're going to Tanzania, Zanzibar, and Dubai. I know Dubai's not in Africa, but Dubai on the way home. Could be a lot of cool pictures, though. How many players is Ryan's going to steal? Well, he can only grab guys who are free agents. So we'll see what he does to build up that Houston Texans roster. I think Robert Saleh and the Jets, that's still a consideration. They're talking, Rich Eisen, I guess, said that he thinks Jimmy Garoppolo is going to go to the Jets. That'd be interesting. Yeah, Jimmie Ward really got better at the nickelback position as the season went along. But it is, I think, really necessary to point out that Kyle Shanahan, according to Jimmie Ward himself, told him, you're going to ride the bench if you don't want to play nickel. DeSean Gibson really took that spot. Here's the thing about DeSean Gibson. He had the top passer rating allowed, like the lowest passer rating allowed out of all NFL safeties this year. 5 interceptions. He had more interceptions in one season than Jaquiski Tartt had in 7 seasons with the 49ers, which was 4. And DeSean Gibson also had the second lowest missed tackle rate of any NFL safety. He was a premier player this year. He was a really, really good player. So you could see why he took Ward's spot, and you could see why the 49ers are looking at the secondary the way they are this year. You know, Ward wants to be paid as a safety, doesn't want to play nickel. That caused some drama, I guess you could say, with the 49ers, but the 49ers don't know what their exact needs in the defensive backfield will be yet until we know what Gibson's future is, retire or not. Yep, you want to ride the bench. All right, guys. Good day in Nashville. It's cold. I'm going to head out. I'm going to go get my swim in outdoors. Yes, but it's a heated pool. Don't worry. I don't swim open water when I am out here. The city is Nashville. I'm in the area is called Wedgwood, Houston. It's like a reclaimed warehouse district where they're building a lot of housing. And you could see all the construction behind me. Definitely is indicative of what this city is undergoing right now, which is a big-time population boom. The hipsters are moving in. All right, everybody take care. This has been the Lombardi AM Scramble.